Hello, wonderful world. It's Jennifer here at Eureka Astrology and Healing, and I'm going to talk about the Virgo full moon. The full moon is going to be on March 18th, 2022, and it is going to be a time of releasing. And there's a lot of dynamic aspects happening, but I want to first talk about the Sabian symbols for both the sun and the moon on that day. I feel like looking at these symbols, which are giving an archetypal story to each degree of the zodiac, can really illuminate some of the larger themes. And then we'll talk about the aspects. And so with that, we'll talk about the sun first. So during this full moon, the sun is going to be in Pisces. It's going to be at 27 degrees of Pisces. And the Sabian symbol for that is the harvest moon illuminates a clear autumnal sky. And it's interesting because this is where the sun is at, right? This degree. And so it's hearkening to a full moon. And we are talking about a full moon. So this is really going to be a moon of a culmination. Like things are really coming to fruition, but also calling to maybe be released as well as full moons do. Like full moons are full, the energy is to the brim. And so that symbol is telling us like the energy is at its max, right? And so intuitively, I would say that people are going to be feeling at their max emotionally, maybe even mentally, because Virgo has to do a lot with analytical thought and processing and details. So we might really be feeling full to the brim with information and things that we have to do. And so it's going to be calling, though, to release some of these things. And so with a deeper insight into that, the description that's of the Sabian symbol, it's a time to reap what has been sown and also cultivated, right? The seeds were planted, things were grown, and the autumnal full moon is really like around the time of Virgo, give or take. And it's like, okay, you've done all this work, now let's bring it in. So we're bringing stuff in, all this energy, and I'm going to really say of the year because this is Pisces season and it's the end of the zodiacal calendar. We're bringing in the things, we're reaping what we've sown this whole year. And it can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing depending on what you've sown. And it's also saying, what have you not sown? Potentially, like maybe you're feeling like there's a lack, and that's because you may have not planted the seeds, or maybe planted the seeds but not taken care of or nurtured the things that needed to be grown. And so you may be feeling like there's something missing as I'm trying to reap, like there's not enough food, right? And so that's the first thing. That's the sun in Pisces saying like, it's time to reap what you've sown. And it's really at the end. And we have to remember it's Pisces season still. And Pisces season is the end. And there's a lot of planets there right now. We've got Neptune, we've got Jupiter, we've got Mercury. So like the sun is shining there. Neptune's bringing in our dream. Jupiter is expanding the dream, and then Mercury is like, I'm thinking about this, and it's kind of getting lost in this nebulous space of like expansion. So there's a lot of expansion and like dissolving going on while we're reaping things at the same time. And so then I took a look at the Sabian symbol for the moon, right? Because it's the full moon. And again, so it's since with a full moon, there's the sun, and it's going to be directly opposed the moon. That's how the moon is full, because the sun is shining directly onto the moon. And so it's 27 degrees of Virgo. And this is an interesting symbol. It's a group of aristocratic ladies meet ceremonially at a court function. And so it sounds a little stodgy. And sometimes that Virgo energy can feel a little, I don't want to say stodgy, but more structured, and that's what we're talking about here though. And so what this is hearkening to is that ceremony creates structure and familiarity and comfort, especially in times of uncertainty. Like doing these ceremonies and these structures, right, they're coming to the ceremony, it creates a sense of security because it's always been done that way, right? It's always here. I know this is what it's going to be like. It's nothing new, right? New things are great, but sometimes they're scary. And so it's saying, okay, there's some structure being had here. And so there's some structure and support, but at the same time, another message in this symbol is that the undisciplined need to learn refinement. And this is very, very, very Virgoian. And so Virgo is great at discerning and cutting out the things that aren't needed at all in a situation or a project. You name it, right? They can see the details and they can pick it out. And so that's refinement, right? Like they're like, that doesn't work, that doesn't work, this works, this works, this works. And then when they pull those things together, it works beautifully and it's a solid structure and things get done and it's organized and it's calm and it moves forward. And so it's kind of calling us for refinement. So not only, like we talked about with the sun, are we harvesting things, it's asking us to let go of the things that are not helping us move forward. And it's refining. We're refining things right now, for sure. Like, that worked for a while, not now, or that never worked, that's gone. And then what can we do with that? We harvest then also to the things that have been grown in between, and we can take a bigger view at this because, again, Pisces season. Pisces is looking at the bigger picture and saying, we are all one. This is cosmic. This is more than everything. There is no boundaries, and this is working this beautiful orchestra. And so it's saying, let's see what works and let's be together as one. But like, if there's a few instruments that aren't working, let them go. And so another theme too, a larger theme, is that we may be called to a higher service. Virgo is of service. It likes to serve, to grow, to build, to help others and other things move forward and into a bigger structure. And it feels good to that Virgo energy. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to serve you and I don't want to do this. It's like, yes, I'm here to serve and grow, and this makes something beautiful, and this is my place and I enjoy this. And so we might be called to a higher service because, again, with that Pisces. And so where can you serve, right? In this time, we might be called to, making some sacrifices or serving somewhere where it's making a bigger picture. It's helping the bigger picture. It's not just about you. It's not that Leo energy before where it's like, it's me and I need to grow my stuff and show everybody my stuff. It's about, okay, how can I help others grow and how can we start to relate, And then we also have to assess what we're obligated to as well in this moon. Virgo, again, we were talking about service. It has obligations with these services. And do those obligations serve you, right? And so we might be feeling very obligated to do certain things, certain places for certain people, but we also might be realizing like we are full up on what we have obligated to. Like, why I cannot help one more person, or I cannot like designate my time. Like, how people are like, okay, I'll help this person this day, that person that day, and I'm gonna do this, 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 and this. And you have this whole map stretched out, and it's like, oh wait, I've over obligated myself, or maybe like my services aren't needed there. So try to reassess and let go of some of the ones. Be honest with yourself. Like, okay, like I said, I could help that person, but is my skill set going to help? And is this going to, in the end, you have to check in with yourself. Is this going to help you? Is this going to make you feel good? Or is it going to drain you? Or is it going to tax you? And is like, really, are your skills going to help where you've obligated yourself to? Because with that Virgoian energy, there's often more than one obligation, not just one. So assess those and be able to let some of them go so you don't feel overwhelmed. Don't let that nervous system get fried on this full moon, because even though Virgo is an earth energy, it is ruled by Mercury, and it is very much a mental, analytical energy, and we don't want those circuits to get fried, right? Like, we'll just cut away the things, like in that Virgo nature, cut away the weed from the shaft and be like, I don't need that anymore. I need this. And so that you're not overstimulated, overwhelmed, over dedicated, or, obligated, right? So those are the core themes. There are some aspects that I do want to mention. So first, the moon on that day in Virgo trines Pluto. Pluto's still in Capricorn. We just had that energy a few weeks back here where it was really activated. We were purging, especially the new moon, like letting go, bringing in the dream, letting go of old structures, authority, how we present our authority. Let it go, but bring in the new, right? What's old? What doesn't work? So with that trine, there's a sense of service though, okay, right? Like we were letting things go, and in this moon, we might also be letting things go. But it's also letting us see where we need to be of service to the larger community, where we need to be responsible, and how the details that we need, right? You might start to get information on like, oh, I can reform how I present myself as authority in this area with this, and this, and those things really will support you, right? It's a good thing. And so if you're getting this information at this time, go with it, right? Like if you're finding details where you can support your authority or restructuring authority or higher institutions, do it, because it's a really harmonious, flowing aspect, and you will not feel much tension there. You also get the sun. So the sun is also going to sextile Pluto at the same time. So not only are you getting practical, analytical information and like, there's this release, that Pisces energy is like, hey, guess what? If you put a little effort into it, I'm going to put this dream in there. I'm going to shine in these nuggets of intuition and inspiration and creativity. You're going to grow something new, right? And so at the same very time, it's saying like all that work that you're putting into releasing, letting go, restructuring, reforming, there's something new coming, and I'm going to give you this beautiful, much more expansive, much more comprehensive, collective energy, creative energy to move forward. And you may not see it. You may not see the answer right now, but it's going to be something beautiful, and it's going to be something bigger and more, like I said, encompassing for the whole, like a more of a beautiful, loving energy, not so restrictive. Go with that too. Like there's inspiration coming through for certain on this day. So you may not know what's going to be on the other side, but surrender to the release. And if you're hearing other positive information as far as like the creativity side, bring that into, write it down. It may not manifest right away, but it will definitely come in through time. And like I said before, so the sun, Neptune, Jupiter, Mercury, there's a lot of this dream energy. So even though the moon is in a very practical, grounded, let's get things done, there's a lot of expansion and mental energy and just like nebulous feeling of like, let's just dissolve and let's just dream. So there's going to be a dreaminess about this too. And so this may be a time of ungroundedness for some people, depending on your own chart personally or how you process Pisces energy. And so it's okay. Go with the flow. Don't fight it, but don't get lost in the river or the ocean, right? That's going to be the hard part, is not to just totally surrender into the nothing matters. I don't have to do this. It doesn't, I'm just going to sleep away the day, dream away the day. Enjoy those things. Try to create something with that. Use that earth energy that's trining in there, sextiling in there to create something, because it'll ground you. And as much as some people love Pisces, myself is one of them, the ground energy is important, because if you're lost in space and don't have a foot on the ground, well, we're on Earth, right? Like we're not well, the Earth is in outer space, but like we're on this planet. So we need to stay grounded so that we can move through this planet. So try to find a way to stay grounded. And maybe it is through like, I'm going to help somebody today, right? Very Virgoian. I'm going to support somebody. Some of the tenuous aspects is that, so Mars and Venus has moved into Aquarius officially at this time, and they are going to loosely, not by exact, but square Uranus, and Uranus is going to be in Taurus. So while we've got all this Pisces energy and there's some Virgo energy, there's a lot of Aquarius energy. There's a lot of focus in at the same time on the collective, like, okay, how can I be an individual? How can I be unique? Where am I unique? And how can I present this to the world and move through it? And how can I help the collective? Like, right, I've got this information, I've got this ingenuity, I want to help the world, right? That energy is also coming out, even though we're kind of getting more creative and wanting to do more fluid and flowing things and or serving, right? That full moon, it's kind of a teeter-totter. There's a call to the collective, like, I want to do this, I want to help, I'm going to do this, moving forward. And Uranus is like, so it's opposing these energies in Aquarius, these two particularly, and saying, well, do you have the materials to do this? Can you really help the collective? Maybe you need to reassess how you value yourself. Or maybe you need to reassess the materials you have. So there's going to be a little bit of tension there. Like, you're like, I want to help the world. I'm really driven. But wait, and I'm dedicated too. Like, there's a feeling of dedication as well. But do I have like the money? Do I have the materials? Do I have the time? Or, how am I using my resources that I have? And so there's gonna be a little bit of a tear there for certain. So don't fight it, but it is a good time to reassess how you work with your value, and also your materials, so that you can move forward in helping the collective. Because we all want to do that right now. We're feeling it. It's going to be unique in how you do it or where you do it. But, Uranus is, slowly moving through Uranus, or Uranus is slowly moving through Taurus, pardon me, to ask us about how we work with material and value. And it's going to be there for a few more years, right? And so this is going to be a theme coming up over and over again with different aspects. But right now, it's a focus on, I want to help the collective, but do you have what it takes? And if you don't, maybe it's just a reframing what you value, right? Maybe you have everything you need, but you can't see that. Or maybe you realize, like, I'm using firsthand goods when I can use recycled goods. There's so many possibilities here, but it's really about honoring the resources that you have and that the resources that you use. So we want to make sure things are sustainable, and Uranus is really calling us to make things sustainable. So while you're helping the collective, make it sustainable. Whatever that means for you, you can pick that out, but you might be feeling that, but it's a good time to address that. Be like, okay, I can do this differently, and we're going to do this, and it's going to make something even better, because squares call us to make change where change is needed, and it can be something bigger and better than we can even imagine, right? And with that, I just wanted to show you a card that I pulled for the full moon. I'm like, okay, what can we channel here as far as energies? And so I pulled the card that is the Fool. It's backwards here, but it's ginseng, which is a tonic for the adrenal system. But what you can see here with this card is that this person, very Piscean, right? Smelling a rose, just walking, having a good time in the sun, in the woods, about to walk off a cliff and doesn't care. And so with that, to sum up that energy, is that the Fool is asking us to surrender to our limitations and to have faith. And so as we're letting go of some of these things, that maybe the fine details or the boundaries we put on ourselves, or the strict perfections we've put on ourselves with that Virgo moon, it's saying, hey, have a little faith. We're at the end of a season here, and this goes beyond the full moon, is that this is the end of Pisces. We're at 27 degrees here. It's almost done. So something new is coming. Have faith, have hope. I know a lot of people, myself included, feel tested right now. Like, can I do this? Am I going to be able to move forward? Do I have what it takes? What's next? This is very Piscean. And if you work with it in the positive, it's like, it's okay. I'm okay. What next is next, and I surrender. Now, when you fight it, it goes, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. This is hard. And then there becomes a panic, and it becomes harder, right? Because, like, what if I don't have, and like very, very Virgo, like, if I don't have this, this, and this, and this to make it perfect, how am I going to get through this? We're being asked to surrender, like the Fool, a little bit, and just have a little faith, and not know what's next. But, I think it's a good thing, and I think it'll help us through this end portion of this zodiacal calendar, and it's okay. We're gonna make it through. And with that, if you like this, hit like, subscribe. I have my website, EurekaAstrologyandHealing.com, where you can see my services, where I have astrology readings, I have tarot readings, and I do wellness consults with herbs. With that, ciao for now. May the stars guide you and the plants ground you. Ciao for now.